Welcome to week 1 of the AVF show. Today I've got a couple announcements for you, and there's also a topic that I would like to address, in addition to updates that I'm going to be giving you every week about things going on over at AV Figures. I also want to bring up topics that will hopefully spark a discussion among community members. So I've went ahead and sent out the first assignments to my Cloniers. Again, that's Republic Scout 722 and the Wolfpack Customs. These guys are going to be field testing the effectiveness of the Clonier program that I'm developing. If you guys missed my last video, these guys are people who I recruited to work with me to create LEGO figures to help me fulfill orders because I couldn't keep up with them. If this continues to be a successful trend, I will hopefully open applications to other people who might want to join my Clonier program and work with me to help deliver high-quality LEGO figures to the rest of the community. Basically, you'll get paid to make LEGO figures with all parts and supplies provided by me. I'm also working on a new line of casted products along with the restock of a few fan favorites. A couple of you might have seen the prototypes of these casted items, including my modified ARC Trooper helmet and holsters that are attachments that you can put on the hips of clone troopers. We'll also be restocking the Phase 2 helmet and the Kylo Ren helmets, because those ones are really popular picks, along with the macro binocular casts. I'm also testing out a new casting method that will hopefully make these items easier to produce and thus will reduce the cost of them. Another item that a lot of you guys asked for in the survey was cloth items. In the past, I've made some custom cloth items, including ones for Commander Gray, Captain Styles, some ARC Troopers, even Commander Trauma, and these are not really cloth items that are available anywhere else. If this ends up being successful, I'll also be able to start offering the decal-ready clone packs, which is a highly sought-after item that people were really recommending on the survey. Basically, it's going to be a blank figure with a helmet, the necessary decals and cloth attachments, and everything that you need to create your clone. Hopefully this will be able to be released within the next coming weeks if I can perfect this cloth cutting technique. I've also got a couple test prints from the Minifig Co. If you guys haven't found out already, my next wave of prints, which was paid for in early June, is going to be a plain Phase 2 Trooper, 501st Trooper, Shock Trooper, and Camino Security Trooper. If the timing goes well, I'll also be able to release my Iron Man Mark 50 printed armor as well. Many of you saw this as a pre-order option at the end of the survey if you took it. And this is going to be going for $40–45-ish. It's going to have 360-degree printing, and it's going to be one of the highest quality custom Iron Man figures you'll ever see in the market. The expected release date for this is going to be August 1st. I'm going to be at Brickford, Virginia at that time, and I really hope that the Minifig Co. will be able to get those prints to me in time so I can sell it to people on site at Brickford, Virginia should you be attending. So the topic I would like to address this week is constructive criticism. About 3 or 4 people on my survey actually noted to me that they were unhappy with the way that I made some of my content, namely with the way that I handled my review of the Minifig Madness Customs prints. As many of you know, my first 3 prints were Rex, Cody, and Gregor. They were printed by Minifig Madness Customs, and a lot of them were subpar in quality, which is why they're listed in the misprint category and are available for pretty cheap. On my story, I publicly noted that Minifig Madness Customs was responsible for making my first wave of printed figures, and that around 60% of them, if not more, had a major error on them, whether it be overspray or misalignment of over 1 millimeter. This was a $1,000 order. He has a machine that can do all of it for him, and it took him like 2 or 3 extra months past the due date to finish this order. There were a lot of complications in between, and in the end he actually didn't even finish all of the items that I'd ordered, so I requested a refund on those as well. I don't regret doing this, and if there's some sort of quality problem in my production, I will not hesitate to call someone out or be called out on this error. This is not to be rude or to slander reputation, but people need to know what they're buying. If I didn't call him out on it, then he would be able to get away with doing this on someone else's order. This isn't just for Minifig Madness, this is also for anyone who sells things. If you have an issue in your quality and no one calls you out on it, then no one really knows the quality issue until it's too late and it's already bought. Constructive criticism is a really big issue in this community because a lot of people will say things like, oh, that's ugly, oh, that looks so bad, but they won't back it up with any reason to improve. If you have an opinion, you are totally entitled to that opinion. No one's going to take that away from you. If you're not going to be nice about it, that's fine too. You just better back up your statement with something that they can improve. For instance, another issue that someone had was my AV figures versus Clone Army Customs versus Area Light posts. Basically, I would post certain figures and I'd put them next to each other, and then I'd have the community compare to see what they like more. I don't do this to rag on the other customizers. If you actually take a look at some of the comments, when people choose a different customizer, like Aerolite or CAC, I'm totally supportive of their opinion. There's nothing wrong with them supporting another customizer. What I ask for in return, though, is what can I do to improve, to be on their level. I know that I'm not at the same production quality level as they are. I only hand make things, and therefore my abilities are limited. However, these guys are able to mass produce, and I want to know what I can do to improve so that by the time I can mass produce, I can create a better quality figure or product in general. So when I do this, I'm not looking to rag on the other guys. I'm looking to see how I can improve my stuff. This is something that I'm hoping will other people can model, because when you see someone else's figure, maybe you don't like certain parts of it, you can point that out to them and tell them what they can do to improve. Likewise, you can ask people, what can I do to improve? Many people are focused on how am I doing, what am I doing right, but then a lot of people don't stop to ask what am I doing wrong, and then how can I improve? Because the only way forward is to adapt and improve. The way that I handle some of this content may or may not be agreeable to some people, but all I'm doing is trying to encourage improvement and adaptation in the community. So if you look at my past feed, this is where I started, this is how I progressed, and I took criticism, both negative and positive, to improve my stuff, and this is how they are now. However, they're not perfect, and they can always be improved, so I'm always open to criticism, and you should be too. Don't be afraid to criticize, as long as you're going to be constructive about it, and don't be afraid to take criticism, because it's probably well-founded, and if you improve, people will have less to criticize you about. And I love criticism. It shows me what I'm doing wrong, because then if I know what I'm doing wrong, I can stop doing that stuff, or I can work on something to replace that. For instance, a lot of people have issues with the fragility of decals. They're not like super fragile. However, they don't last as long as printed figures, and that's true. So unfortunately, I can't just say, oh, I'm not going to decal anymore. Not yet. All I'm going to do is say, hey, I'm working on getting printed figures so that it can replace that issue. All it is a step forward, taking your criticism and then building forward from it. This is something that you can not only adapt for yourself, but you can also help others improve by telling them what they can improve on and not being an asshole about it. Another example of some negative criticism is McLovin's Iron Man Mark 50. He was one of the first people to use a fully posable minifigure base made by Minifig Cat, and it was really an amazing figure. It was something that no one else attempted before in the past, and it was really innovative. But he got a lot of hate comments from people like, oh, it's so ugly, blah blah blah. And whether or not people like the way it looks, it's important to note that if you don't like something, recommend how to improve, or just don't say anything at all. You know, a lot of your moms would say, if you don't have something nice to say, don't say it. I disagree with that. If you don't have something nice to say, go ahead and say it. Just back it up with some good evidence and try to be constructive about it. We're a community. We're trying to build each other up, not tear each other down. So anyway, moral of the story, look to improve yourself. Look forward to all these AV Figures developments, and I will see you guys next week.